Hello, my friends. My name is Gerdes, and here are three big stories for today. So, the first one is the relationship between Zelensky and Trump. The meeting the other day seems to have helped it. Now, I'm not making the case that this is all sunshine and roses and unicorns. Not that at all. But from salesman to piece of steel, this is in Euromaidan Press, Trump now praises Zelensky and says that he likes him. Now, I'm not trying to influence the election. That's not my point. I'm trying to provide context. I've always maintained that Trump is a wild card. While it looks like it's pretty clear that Harris and her rhetoric and previous actions is going to be better for Ukraine, we just don't know what to make of Trump or how he's going to act or react. Trump, who previously called Ukraine's leader the greatest salesman, he walks away with $100 billion every time he comes here, now says that he likes him and praises Zelensky's handling of Trump's impeachment. Well, that's because he said something once upon a time that was in favor of Trump or did not hurt Trump, and so now he likes him. Here's the article in Euromaidan Press. Last week, Trump had criticized Zelensky during a campaign event, calling him the greatest salesman on earth for securing U.S. support. However, after they met by the end of the week, Trump stated, "I learned a lot. And we both want to see this war end, and we both want to see a fair deal made. And it's going to be fair." At a news conference before their meeting, Trump said Zelensky was a piece of steel during Trump's first impeachment. How far this will go or what will come of it, we don't know. But again, Trump's just a wild card, and it's yet to be determined what he's going to do or say. But meanwhile, Trump's former advisor, General McMaster, saying, I don't think this peace plan it doesn't really have legs. It's a real myth. Trump's Ukraine peace plan rubbished by former National Security Advisor McMaster. Trump has promised to end Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine within a day if elected, but has not publicly elaborated on how he plans to achieve that. So here's the article in the Kyiv Post. H.R. McMaster dismissed his former boss's claims as a real myth, adding, "It's a real misunderstanding of war to assume that you can get a favorable political outcome without favorable military outcome. That never really happened in a war." Trump has promised to end the full-scale invasion of Ukraine within a day if elected, but has not publicly elaborated on how he plans to achieve that. One plan reportedly involves ceding territory to Russia. That would be terrible. Even the Kremlin has voiced skepticism of Trump's claims, stating on July 18th that there was a need to be realistic. "I don't really buy it," McMaster said, adding that the only way that Ukraine can end up with a favorable settlement is to ensure that Russian President Vladimir Putin is in a situation where he's convinced that he's losing the war. That's spot on. How do you do that? You demonstrate our resolve to continue to support the Ukrainians as they defend themselves against this continued onslaught by the Russians. That was Trump's former advisor, General McMaster. Okay, shifting gears. Now, I know some of you are going to see this and you're going to be like, oh no, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? New NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte posted his first message on his page on X. He thanked the allies for their trust and stated that it's a great honor for him to succeed Stoltenberg. Now, Stoltenberg's time is over in NATO, and Mark Rutte is going to be taking over. Mark Rutte has been I think, the prime minister in his country, and while he was there, it was either foreign minister or prime minister. I think it was prime minister. And while he was there, he was a stalwart defender of Ukraine. I don't see that they're going to, there's really no daylight between these two in their support of Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky says, "I congratulate Mark Rutte on taking up his duties as NATO Secretary General. I wish him every success in this new role and look forward to working productively together to strengthen the Euro-Atlantic security and our partnership with the alliance as Ukraine continues on its path toward full-fledged NATO membership." Is putting that in there as a reminder. "Only together, Ukraine and its allies, can we guarantee a peaceful, stable, and secure Europe." I think that's fair. Okay, next big story, the third and final. It's going to be multi-part, and it's all about the Russian economy. Well, let's look at this narrow slice of the Russian economy first. As Putin's global acquisition list grows, Russia announces a 30% increase in defense spending to 145 billion for 2025. Okay, 145 billion. Well, where's it come from before that? Let's look at this in the Kyiv Post. And so Russia plans to boost its defense budget by almost 30% next year as it diverts resources to its Ukraine offensive, spending more on military than on welfare and education combined. Combined spending on defense and security will account for around 40% of Russia's total government spending, seen as 41.5 trillion rubles in 2025. So 40% of their federal budget is going to the military. That's pretty large. But Russia's $145 billion defense budget dwarfs Ukraine's at $54 billion, with Kyiv reliant on Western military and financial aid to continue fighting. And that's fair. That's what's happening. They're a third of the size in population and much smaller in GDP. Now, Anton Gershchenko is amplifying these points, saying, I've been asked in the comments about the state of the Russian economy. Here are some numbers. Military spending is increasing. Incomes continue decreasing for the Russian people. However strange that may sound, it plays right into Putin's hand. Like, what? Yeah, but it kind of does. Most of Russia's population are so used to poverty that they think that this is the norm. As I've said before, the mysterious Russian soul can be described in a nutshell with a saying, the worse it is, the better. The Russians, if nothing else, are able to endure massive suffering. They've proved that for generations. Russia's military expenditures will increase to 13.5 trillion rubles, or $145.3 billion, or 6.3% of GDP in 2025. Just so that you understand, that's a lot. 6.3% of gross domestic product is a lot to be spending on military. By contrast, the United States is spending 3%. Now they're spending 746 billion US dollars, but it's only 3% of our gross domestic product. Okay. In 2025, Russian housing and utility tariffs will increase by 11.9%. This is twice as much as was planned for last year. Gas will rise in price by 10.3% and electricity by 12.6%. A year ago, tariffs in 2025 were planned to be indexed by 5.7%. In 2024, tariffs rose by 9.8%. And this kind of thing is going to grow as the Ukrainians hit more and more gas and oil depots and things along those lines. But never fear, Solyov's Solyov Live TV channel will also receive state funding from 2025 to 2027. 4.5 billion rubles, or $48.5 million, will be allocated so that the good people of Russia can see Solyov Live. So there is a silver lining, I suppose, there. That's sarcasm, if you're wondering. Okay, Russia experienced another major setback in the energy sector. Russia's ambitions, that is Arctic LNG, liquefied natural gas 2 project, loses another potential customer. After the refusal of several European and Asian countries, India has also backed out. We will not buy the supply from Arctic LNG 2. We are not buying any sanctioned commodity, something of which has broad-based sanctions. We are not touching it, said India's oil secretary. So at least, I mean, they're buying oil in droves, but at least they're not going to be doing that. Now that's problematic and that's a problem because almost a third, 27% of Russia's state budget comes from oil and gas. Okay, John McCain, the Republican senator from Arizona, said it best. Listen to this.
Russia is now a gas station masquerading as a country.
That's right. A gas station masquerading as a country. So if you can hit the oil and gas, you can really do some significant economic damage. Now, it's worse than that, and that's reflected in other sectors of the Russian economy. Oh my, I didn't even hope that everything would be so bad. This is a disaster for construction sites. The Bank of Russia has published a report on mortgage lending. The number of loans issued in August fell by 54% to the level of 2019. The number of loans issued in new buildings has fallen by 63%. That's a pretty good indicator that there's trouble. But the Russians will just shake it off, and in the words of Mediocrities, the Greek philosopher, it's good enough. All right, my friends, thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.